cold as a razor blade, as tight as a tourniquet, like the skin on a dying man. I don't want a piece of the world. I want the whole world. I make my own rules because it's much easier that way. Trust me.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo, and we are back for another episode of The Snake Pit. And, of course, I am joined by none other than the master of the DDT himself, WWE Hall of Famer, legend, a pop culture icon, Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake, what's going on, brother?
Just getting through the day, man.
Well, I'm glad I'm here for you, Jake. I brighten everybody's day when they get to hang out with me and talk to me, so you're welcome. I'm glad I can provide this service today, bro.
I know people that are full of themselves, but I think you're full of shit.
It's trying to wake us up here a little bit. Man, we've got a really fun episode, and it's one of your favorites, so I'm really excited to get into it. It's another Ask Jake Anything, and brother, your fans showed up as they always do, brought us plenty of questions.
Great.
And I do want to tell you guys before we dig into them, you've got to submit your questions on social media. Jake will put out a prompt every once in a while, and you guys can respond to that. Or probably the quickest, easiest way to do it is hit me up on X at Marcus P. D'Angelo. Send me a personal message. If it's something that we haven't talked about here yet on the show, I will add it to the notes. So we'll have some fun with that. Also, I do want to mention that Jake, you're coming to Pittsburgh this weekend.
Yeah.
So this will come out afterwards, of course. But Jake, have you ever had a Permane Brothers sandwich, though?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, maybe we'll change that this weekend. It's a Pittsburgh classic. We'll get into some Pittsburgh questions here in a minute. But before we do, I would be remiss, Jake, if I didn't bring up the recent bad news that we got. Unfortunately, your friend, my friend, as a matter of fact, as well, and a guy who's known as one of the greatest minds ever in the history of wrestling passed away. I'm talking, of course, about Kevin Sullivan. And Jake, I just wanted to give you a minute to comment on the passing of your good friend.
Oh man, that's a tough one to chew on. You know, it really is. And Kevin and I were tag team partners in Florida, and some of my best stuff was done then. And just hate to see another one gone, man. Really do.
Man, he's such a loss, not just to the world as a whole. He was a great human being, but the world of wrestling, like his mind for pro wrestling, it was kind of unlike anybody else's that you've ever been around.
Right.
And what can you tell us about him and his creativity?
He was out there. He wasn't afraid to ring any bell.
And he wasn't afraid of the heat, man. He's not a huge guy by any means, or he wasn't a huge guy by any means, but like when it came to getting heat, he would just keep the throttle all the way down, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd keep the pedal to the metal, bro.
Man, what a great human being Kevin Sullivan was. And we did have him on an episode of The Snake Pit. I think it was our 10th episode. We called it The Devil Went Down to Florida. And it's all about Jake's time down there with Kevin. We'll have to hit it again maybe this December. That's around the time that Jake was doing some of that stuff. And I think there's more stories to tell. So we will dig into it a little bit more. But God bless Kevin Sullivan and his family. What a character and what a loss to wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, I mentioned that you were in Pittsburgh this past weekend, and it makes me want to ask as well, before we get into these fan questions. Here will be my fan question for the week. Do you have any memories, working in Pittsburgh or specifically the old Civic Arena here?
I just remember the first time I was booked there, I showed up 45 minutes late and got my ass chewed by Bruno Sammartino.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you remember why you were late?
Yeah, we were looking for some dope.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Now, when you say we, who are you looking for some dope with?
I think it was me and Morocco.
Okay. Well, he's one of the usual suspects when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Now, what did Sammartino have to say to you exactly?
He just told me there wasn't a good excuse for being late.
Did you explain to him that you're trying to find some dope?
No, I didn't go that far.
Maybe you would have understood.
Maybe you would have.
Yeah, I have my doubts. While we're talking about Bruno Sammartino, who's obviously a Pittsburgh stalwart and a legendary wrestler in his own right, recently on social media, a clip just surfaced of you tag teaming with Bruno Sammartino and Tito Santana against the Hart Foundation and the Honky Tonk Man. That was something I did not know happened, and it's such a cool piece of history that you got to team up with Bruno. What was it like stepping into the ring with Bruno and being around him in general?
It was a pleasure, man. He's quite the gentleman.
And can't really overstate what a legendary figure he was, even at this point in his career. He was older, but he was probably about as big of an icon in wrestling as there ever was before Hulk Hogan came along, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really cool you got to team up with Bruno. A fun little footnote in your storied career. But all right, that's enough of my questions. Let's go ahead and see how many of these fan questions we can hit. Guy Hale is up first. He says, which WWF manager do you think you would have fit with the best if you had to choose one?
That's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'd go with Slick.
Slick. that is not what I was expecting. Why Slick?
What were you expecting?
I figured it was going to be like, well, who do most people consider the best manager? Bobby Heenan. So that's where my head went.
I couldn't go with Heenan.
Why no Heenan?
Just he doesn't fit.
He was a little bit too much for you and your character.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think you would have switched your gimmick like Kamala? If you or not like Kamala, like One Man Gang, if you got with Slick?
Yeah, maybe.
We would have got funky like a monkey, Jake.
There you go,
man. Folks, if you are not on the YouTube, you are really missing out because Jake just treated us to the Akeem dance there for a sec. It was a very special moment.
I could go.
Honestly, I think it could have worked with you. Put Jake in the Akeem gimmick for a couple months with Slick. If you had to pick between two gimmicks, as either the Stone Mountain Dream taking on the Akeem gimmick, or as you and I have talked about here on the show before, heel Jake as a vampire, which one are you going with?
The vampire.
You as a vampire? I will beat that drum until the day I die. That is a great gimmick for Jake Roberts.
I think it would be awesome.
I like if circumstances have been different and you came back in 1996 and all of a sudden you have this white snake, but you're also a fucking vampire. Like, that could have been great shit.
That could have been some cool shit.
Absolutely, man. It's a lot better than what they brought you in with. So I don't know, missed opportunities, pal.
There we go.
NFVX, I guess. I don't know. It's weird lettering. They ask, Jake, tell us about your time. Then they shared a picture. They say, Jake, tell us about your time in French Club.
Oh, my God. The only reason I was in French was because I was the only guy.
Man, that's a good move.
So I'm not just a pretty face and a short dick. I know some shit.
Now, did things go as you had planned because you're there with all those ladies?
Oh, hell yeah, I did.
See, that's a trick. It's if you're a guy in theater or in French Club, for example, you're probably one of the few guys, and that opens up some doors, pal.
Yeah, I mean, there were like 25 girls in that class, and I was the only guy.
By the way, again, folks, if you are not watching here on YouTube, we just pulled up a picture of Jake in high school in French Club, and boy, it was something pretty interesting here on the Snake Pit this week.
I was a handsome devil, wasn't I?
You were a good-looking kid. You were tall. You were surrounded by all these girls. It's like you got me wanting to go to a French Club.
There you go.
William Wedge is up next. What was one wrestler? This is probably a question that you and I have answered here on the show at some point, but I can't for the life of me remember your answer. So we'll do it here now. He asked, what was the one wrestler you wished you had a match with?
Oh, there's so many of them that I wished I'd worked with, man. Are you kidding? I'd like to work with Randy Orton.
Oh, man.
I would have liked to have worked with Steve Austin some more.
Hell yeah.
Then I would have liked to work with Hogan.
You only had, what, 2 or 3 occasions with Hogan?
Twice.
Yeah, that's not enough.
No.
Man, it's for me, the one guy that always stuck out for me when it came to you as a guy that you would have had good chemistry with is Jeff Jarrett, who we saw on Dynamite recently, and fighting Bryan Danielson. Like he was such a good small heel that I think babyface Jake and that dynamic with him could have been really entertaining.
That would have been good. That could have been really good.
Blake Schmerler, I guess. He actually reached out to me personally on Twitter, and he asked, in your own words, what does it mean to you to know how many people you've directly and indirectly helped, sharing your life story and your struggles with addiction and abuse? You truly are an inspiration to so many people. You beat your demons and come out on the other side.
It does my heart good. It really does, man. It means the world to me. As many people as I've touched with my wrestling, I hope that I wind up touching even more with my choice to come out with my addiction problems. There's nothing worse in this world than addiction, man. It's really a nasty beast. It ruins not only yourself, but it ruins your family and so many others. And just know that I'm out here. If you need help, give me a shout.
That's right. Jake is living proof of what you can do whenever you decide that you're done being victimized by your addictions, and so he can certainly help you if you're struggling with it. And Jake, I know that you're a private person, and putting yourself out there is not always a really comfortable thing, especially when it comes to something as personal as addiction. When DDP comes to you with the idea that he wants to do the resurrection of Jake the Snake, were you hesitant to put that story out there at all?
Yeah, of course I was. Of course I was. I was so ashamed of myself at the time. To be where I was at and be talking about putting my story out there. Are you kidding? I didn't even want to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got better, I started changing my mind.
And you even said it's like your brain started to work differently again, like the way that it had prior to addiction, right?
Absolutely.
So it changes your perspective on like, okay, well, maybe putting this story out there might not be something that makes you personally feel good about you, but it makes you feel good because you can help others with the story.
Absolutely.
If you guys haven't seen The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, I know it's available on streaming, and I believe it's available for free on some streaming services. So go out of your way to check that out because it's an incredible story. Hoagie Capone is up next. Who did you like better as a person, Vince McMahon or Jim Crockett Jr.?
Oh, Vince McMahon.
Wow. All right. What was it about Crockett Jr. that rubbed you raw?
He's just snooty.
Ah, okay.
He was real snooty.
Was Vince a little bit more relatable?
Yeah. Yeah, you could get in there and talk to Vince if you wanted to.
We hear a lot about how people would have to, like, you get to the building, if you wanted to have a private moment with Vince, a lot of guys would have to stand in line and wait your turn to get into his office and talk to him. Were you trying to get in there and bend his ear as often as you could, or how would that go if you had something you wanted to bring up to Vince?
Usually whenever I told him I wanted to talk to him, he was ready right then.
Really?
Yeah.
So it says a lot about his respect for you.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Foster Hayes, who asks, what was everybody backstage thinking going into WrestleMania 6 and Hogan versus Warrior? Neither was known to be a great worker, but both great entertainers. So, Jake, at the same event, you worked with Ted DiBiase, and a lot of people consider that an all-time great WrestleMania match. As a matter of fact, I just ended my recording of Ted DiBiase, and he named that as his favorite match of all time, is that match with you, which, for context, he had a main event at another WrestleMania against Randy Savage, but he liked his match with you better. Were the two of you thinking you'd steal the show, or was the spectacle of Hogan and Warrior too much to overcome?
That was never the thought. It was never my idea to try to steal the show. In fact, that would be the furthest thing from my mind. But I know that coming up to it, whenever I seen that match, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a clusterfuck. And that match changed my mind, changed my thinking about Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Yeah, it absolutely did. Yeah. Because
So?
he went out there and made the match work. You know, and they put some time in too.
They did.
Yeah.
It's kind of evidence that less is more, right?
He made that match work. And it was all him.
It certainly was.
Yeah. So that match right there changed my thinking about Hulkster.
And that the whole like slow build to it, where there's a lot of looking around and mugging at the audience, and then it's like a sort of a lockup moment and break away from each other, hitting the ropes type stuff, you know, slamming into each other, trying to knock each other down. Like, it was a good story. It really was. Was it an all-time Matt classic? No, but you know, people still look back fondly at that match.
Absolutely, and it was a lot better than everybody thought it was going to be.
It damn sure was. Jake, have you ever seen Hulk versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18 by any chance?
I haven't.
Man, so a lot of people actually compare that to Hulk versus Warrior just because of the incredible spectacle and the story that they told. And it actually took place in the same arena, the Sky Dome in Toronto. And that one, those two are considered all-time great matches. And it's like, you know, not guys who are known as, you know, a Bret Hart or a Jake Roberts in the ring either.
Right.
Wrestle Nerd, it's got weird spelling. He asks, is there anyone that Jake owes an apology to that he never got to see in person? On the other side, is there anyone that Jake wishes he would have gotten an apology from? Boy, that's a weird one.
No, I think I'm clean there, man.
That's a good thing.
You know? My only expectation would be for one certain guy, but I'm not going to even mention his name. So
we don't bury anybody here on the Snake Pit when we can help it.
Yeah.
At least, you know, not outwardly. Sometimes we'll have cutting remarks here and there. But so does that go into this whole somebody owing you an apology?
Yeah.
Presumably? Okay. All right. Well, we won't pick that scab.
No.
Aaron Hindle is up next. What does Jake think of his old tag team partner Dory Funk Jr. climbing back into the wrestling ring for an explosive death match at 83 years old? Jake, have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
It's supposed to go down in Japan, and I guess it's a kind of a tribute to his brother Terry, who was in all those explosive death matches over there. And 83-year-old Dory, who you once told me that watching him wrestle was painful. he's taking his old ass back into the ring. What are your thoughts when you hear that?
My God, please stop. Stop the carnage. That's just so fucking ridiculous. Nothing good can happen.
No.
You know, nothing good can happen in this situation. You hope that nobody gets hurt, but I don't see that happening either. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Fuck yes.
And it's probably going to be Dory at 83.
83 years old, stepping back in. Not just a match, Jake, where he could stand on the apron and, you know, kill time. Nope. An explosive death match.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world.
Is there a dollar figure somebody could offer you to be involved in an explosive death match, Jake?
Fuck no.
Even like let's say a 30-year-old Jake Roberts.
Nope. There's
I'm
no need for it.
No, I'm sitting here at my age, and training and wrestling, and I'm thinking like, hey, if somebody asked me to do an explosive death match, the answer is no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. It's fucking worse shit.
God bless Dory Funk Jr. Hope he's okay when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Chris Good is up next. Who do you think you'd have a better program with, Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels? These two always come up with you, and I think it's because you tend to say that they weren't necessarily as good as they're always made out to be.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd have the better match probably with Shawn.
Oh, really? Now, him as a heel or you as a heel?
Me as the heel.
Yeah, because he's got to be the one bouncing around for you, right?
Yeah.
Is it just like Bret's technical style? You don't think it was a good mesh with you?
It wouldn't be as good as it wouldn't be as explosive as what I could do with Shawn.
I would agree with that. Eric Freelander is up next, and he asks, I heard Dutch Mantel talk. We might end up cutting this one out of it. I heard Dutch Mantel talking about Michael Hayes and Buddy Roberts peeing on people. Has Jake ever heard about this rumor?
Absolutely true.
It is true.
Oh yeah.
What can you tell us about them pissing on people, Jake?
Oh, they used to put piss in a squirt gun.
What?
And squirt the crowd. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Squirting piss in their mouth.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Presumably they were heels at the time.
Yeah.
So Jake, back when you're backstage, and are you seeing them pee into squirt guns?
Yeah.
What's your first thought as somebody who grew up in wrestling, and this is their manner for getting heat or just having fun?
Keep that fucking shit away from me.
Oh man. Wow. Okay. I was expecting like, no, I never heard anything about that, but no, it's rumors are true.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Now, the other thing that it's kind of jogging my memory. The other thing that I was hearing about them was like they would be at a bar and having drinks, and some guy would just be next to them, and they would just kind of casually whip their dicks out and piss on the guy's leg. Were you ever there for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, there is just no business like wrestling, is there?
No, you got that right. Entertainment.
Who's getting entertained though? It's the boys half the time. David asks, would Jake rather have great payoffs and a terrible opponent like with Warrior, or moderate payoffs with a great program?
Moderate with great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you want that over the instant gratification of the money?
Because I wasn't in it for the money. I was in it for the joy of wrestling.
Wow. So you, like, more importantly to you was going out there and putting on really strong matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all that being said, do you think if you had to, like, if you had your choice, would you forego a WWF run and all the money that came with that to continue working in like Georgia and book and be able to work with guys that you want?
I didn't say that.
Because eventually you've got to get to the point where you're making money.
Yeah. I didn't go that far.
Cyrus Xavier asks, who did you like calling your matches? I always loved the banter that Bobby the Brain had with whoever he was with.
Did Bobby call a match?
He's called a couple of your matches before, yeah.
Oh. What was the question?
Well, he was asking who is, and my first thought was like, okay, calling matches in the ring, but what he means is like, who did you like on commentary for your matches?
It didn't matter.
You didn't care who?
I didn't care who.
Did you ever feel like there was anybody who captured Jake Roberts better than anyone else?
No.
Wow. There is one.
listen to the commentary. So.
Oh, okay. There is one moment that was really cool, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen the clip of it, but when you came out for Royal Rumble 92, it was Piper and Flair in the ring, and you kind of just let them do their own thing for a while, which is a great moment in the Rumble. But as you're coming out, they really put you over, where they both very slowly said, as soon as the bell rang, they were like, Jake the Snake Roberts. And it was like such a cool kind of a quiet moment. That was Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. Have you ever seen that clip by any chance?
No, I haven't.
I'll have to send it to you because it really kind of puts over like, oh shit, one of the most dangerous people in wrestling just walked out there. So yeah, it's great. And by the way, I watched Flair watch back that clip at one point, and he spent about 10 minutes just putting you over and saying what a great performer you were. So there's a little footnote for you.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, the Nature Boy's a big fan of Jake the Snake.
Well,
Carl Ricor asks, what was another Bobby Heenan question? What was Bobby the Brain Heenan like backstage? Was he as funny off camera as he was on camera?
yes. Yeah, he was always laughing.
Now he's got that real quick wit, and he could bite people with it. Like, were you buddies with him, or would he get on your nerves, or how'd you feel about him?
He didn't come after me much.
Okay. Because you had a fucking snake that you could fuck back with him with.
There you go.
All right. We'll do a couple more and get out of here, Jake. Peter D wants to know, what was the worst injury you have ever taken to the nuts?
Oh. I split my nutsack.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing what?
Believe it or not, getting into the ring.
Really?
I was outside the ring, and I had the rope, and I was leaning back, and I'd pull myself up and punch the guy. And I punched the guy. He took a bump backwards, and I went to get into the ring, and my foot slipped off, and I nutted myself.
Oh, God.
And it split my nutsack a little bit.
Like a bad cut?
It wasn't good.
There is no good cut down there.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, like stitches?
No stitches.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Boy, I was expecting somebody accidentally catching you with a knee or something, but that is way worse. Jake, how do you treat a split nut sack?
You leave that motherfucker alone.
Probably your best bet. I bet you were very gingerly climbing between the ropes for a while after that.
Yeah, I learned a lesson there.
I'm going to hope that that's a lesson that I don't have to learn as I'm getting into the ring. All right, last question. Brian Keever asks, I loved hearing about Jake's ladder match with JYD in Calgary. Thank you, Brian. Did Jake ever do another ladder match?
Absolutely not.
How do you think you would have done in a because again, that ladder match was a leaning ladder against the fucking rafters. How do you think you would have done with an A-frame ladder?
I wouldn't do it.
So nobody would have been able to talk you into it.
No.
Wow. Hypothetically though, Jake, if you were just offered a shit pile of money and they're putting you in this match, how are you structuring a ladder match with an A-frame, the typical ladder match?
I will gladly go after anybody that goes up the ladder. How about that?
Okay. So you yourself are not winning this match.
No, I'm not.
Okay. The other guy gets to go over, but you'll go ahead and hit him with some shit off the ladder.
Absolutely. I'll turn the ladder over. I don't mind doing that.
Now, what about as simple as that spot, which happens in every single ladder match, where the one guy's climbing one side, you climb the other side, and you punch each other until one of you falls off? Would you do that?
That.
Okay.
He fell off.
The funny thing is, though, is if you're not falling off, then your options are you can reach up and grab the belt, or you can climb back down the ladder to give the guy more punishment, or you can take a bump. So which one of those do you think you're going to end up with?
I jump off on the guy with an elbow.
Okay, there's another solution. Thinking outside the box. Well, that's what we do here on the Snake Pit, folks. And we want to thank you all for submitting your questions for another Ask Jake Anything. Again, there's questions left, and we will ask the ones that we missed next time. But please go to Jake's social media to submit a question, or again, go to my social media, Marcus P. D'Angelo on X, and submit a question. And Jake, always a pleasure, my friend. And maybe I'll see you this weekend in Pittsburgh.
You definitely will.
Okay, guys, you know the drill. If you're looking to attract that 25 to 54-year-old male demographic, why haven't you gotten over to advertisewithsnake.com yet? Come on, this is an opportunity to make Jake the Snake Roberts your tag team partner. I mean, when anybody says Jake the Snake, everybody knows exactly who you're talking about. This guy is a household name, still a huge star, and a pop culture icon, and he can put over your stuff to the exact demographic that you are trying to target. If you want some proof that it works, just listen to the show, bud. We routinely advertise for the same businesses because they know that what we do here on the Snake Pit works. Head to advertisewithsnake.com and get teamed up with the Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts. If you guys can't get out to see Jake at a show, you've got to try out a Cameo. It's the next best thing from the master of the DDT. You go to cameo.com/JakeSnake to get a personal message from the man himself. And we've got a recent review here from Tanner. My hero, this brought tears to my eyes. He did such a great job. This video will be cherished for life. I mean, if you guys want something that you can cherish for life, be showing people whatever, 10, 15, 20 years from now with Jake the Snake giving you a personal shout out, a birthday wish, holiday wish, or how about he just cuts a promo on you? You can go and get it right now at a really fair price at cameo.com/JakeSnake. Go and order yours right now. We've been talking for a while about what we got going on over at OneTrueSportTV.com. That's our YouTube page, but it's also where you sign up to be a member. Again, there's 3 tiers of membership, and that's how you access both the audio and the early video of all of these podcasts. Plus, like we've been saying, we had Dustin Rhodes come on for our first month with a Q&A. We've got bonus episodes, and there's so much more incredible content that we are getting ready to put out there. We really want you guys to be part of it and be part of this community that we're building. And by the way, top tier, traveling champion, just $39.99 per month, an unbelievable rate, especially when you compare that to our competitors. You guys are really going to be happy with what we have to offer at OneTrueSportTV.com. And then we want you to go and check out OneTrueSport.com. That's our merch page, and we've got merch for Ted DiBiase, of course, Jake the Snake Roberts, Magnum TA. We've got Arn Anderson. It's the official Four Horsemen shop, and so much more there. Guys, just go and have a look at it. You're really going to love the cool, unique Roots of Fight type style that we have for some of these personalities that you've come to know so well. And it's also featuring eras of their career that never got merch. You know, for example, we've got Jake when he was in Japan and when he briefly wore face paint back in 1980, or Jake's time in Mid-Atlantic. There's so much great stuff over there. At least go and have a look. I think you guys are going to find something you like. Check us out on YouTube. It's youtube.com/@SnakePitPod. You'll get some short clips from the show, some highlights, and exclusive content. We're closing in on 30,000 subscribers over there, and we want to keep growing. We want to get all the way up to 100,000. But we're going to celebrate once we hit 30 by doing some kind of a signed giveaway from Jake. I'm not going to give away too much yet, but let me tell you, you are going to love what we have to offer over there for free. We're going to just give stuff away to our subscribers to celebrate 30,000. So go and be a part of it. Plus, go and enjoy all the awesome content that Jake and I have up there. Again, it's youtube.com/@SnakePitPod. It's a great way to support the show, and we would really appreciate you guys going over there and getting subscribed. And speaking of supporting the show, if you've enjoyed the Snake Pit, do us a big favor. Like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review on all platforms. Does Jake and I a huge favor, and lets the advertisers know that we are the guys that they need to put their products with. So please, just take a second, give us that 5-star review, give us a nice review. It would really mean a lot to us. Catch Jake on X at JakeSnakeDDT, on Instagram at JakeTheSnakeDDT, and on Facebook at Real Jake the Snake. You can follow me at Marcus P. D'Angelo on X. And if you have questions for future Ask Jake episodes, that's probably the best place to put it. You can always respond to Jake's posts that he puts out about it. Or really the fastest, easiest way to get your question in is hit me up. Hit me up in my DMs. Let's have a little chat. You can also just tell me what you think about the show and offer suggestions or feedback or whatever you want to do. It's Marcus P. D'Angelo on X. I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, guys, that is going to do it for this week. We always have a blast taking listener questions here on the Snake Pit, and appreciate you guys writing in with so many great ones. Please keep them coming. Keep coming up with original ideas, because we've asked Jake a ton of questions in whatever it is, 23 episodes of Ask Jake Anything. So make sure that you're coming up with some cool, unique, interesting ideas for future episodes. We love hearing from you guys, and the fun's just getting started here on the Snake Pit, because coming up very soon, we're going to be talking about SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam season, and we're going to be looking back on some of the greatest memories from Jake's career right here on the Snake Pit.